in the tri-junction of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Gujarat, a unique festival has been conducted. In fact, this festival is called as Bij Utsav, which means the celebration of indigenous seeds of the region. As we know very well that post-Green Revolution in India, with rising scientific discoveries, more and more seeds which are either genetically modified or hybridized or which are in fact owned by some companies under IPR laws are becoming the standard seeds which are being used in the agriculture. In the erstwhile time, farmers used to in fact preserve the seeds which have been cultivated in the previous crop cycle and used to use the same seeds for the sake of cultivating in the next time. But what is happening of late is now the farmers are excessively depending on the market in order to procure the seeds, and more than 70% of the farmers in India are using the hybrid seeds. And some of these seeds are also being produced by the commercial companies with some kind of peculiar genes which are called as terminator genes. And these terminator genes will not permit the seed or the seeds produce, or the plant when it grows, it will give a fruit and it will also have some seeds. But these seeds are going to be neutral. Neutral means they are not going to be helpful for cultivating the same crop again. So this way, so what is happening is the seeds are going under the control of the private organizations, and some of these hybrid seeds are also showing that they are not very resilient with respect to the climate. They are requiring high levels of fertilizer, they are coming under the attack of the pesticide, then along with that they are being highly water intensive. That is the reason why there is a high need for us to revive the indigenous seeds of the country, so that there will be community-led seed management and the farmers will get this idea which is called as a seed sovereignty, wherein their ownership of the seeds should lead to their empowerment. And most of the traditional seeds of India, they are highly nutritious. They are, in fact, very, very suitable to the Indian climatic conditions, ranging from droughts to, excessive water stagnation, that is floods. And they are also very resistant to numerous diseases and locusts. And that is the reason why there is a need to preserve these indigenous seeds. But unfortunately, in only few pockets of India, that too particularly the tribal pockets and in backward states like Odisha, these traditional seeds are surviving. But in rest of the regions, all hybridization of seeds has happened. This year, as we know, under Operation Kagar and Operation Black Forest, the central agencies are conducting numerous anti-Naxal operations in coordination with the state police. And if you look at the casualty list for the year 2025, by June 19th itself, nearly 195 Maoists are killed. But in the 195 Maoists who have been killed, 82 were women. This is a disproportionate representation of women in the killed Maoists. If you understand this, majority of the Maoists, according to various intelligence agencies reports, nearly 40% of the Maoists are women. There is a disproportionate representation of women in the Maoist ranks, and the Union Home Ministry has stated very clearly that the disproportionate representation of women is primarily because in the areas where the Naxal influence is highest, the Naxals usually tended to resort to coercion of the local tribal families to at least surrender one of the family members into the Naxal ranks. And because the tribal communities have a sense of patriarchy, what they are doing is with great pain, they are giving away their daughter to the Naxal ranks. And if you observe this, because of this sense of patriarchy, more number of women are getting recruited into the Naxal ranks. And once they get recruited, usually the Naxals are selected when they are very young, because it helps them or helps the Naxal ranks in brainwashing the cadre. And majority of these little girls, they are in fact recruited into organizations which are called as Bal Dastas. And these Bal Dastas, usually their age is less than 18 years. And they are thoroughly brainwashed and trained by the Naxal ranks. Later, they are made part of the main fighting force of the Naxals, which is usually called as the Jan Militia. And if you observe, only in the foot soldiers of the Naxals, there is disproportionate representation of women, whereas in the higher echelons of the Naxal ranks, there is no representation of women, even though the Naxals claim themselves to be anti-patriarchal, but most of the leadership positions in Naxal ranks are given to men, whereas the foot soldiers, the battle fodder are usually the women. So this is one thing which we need to identify here. That is the reason why the central government, it is saying that under the surrender cum rehabilitation policies also, special focus is being given to surrender and rehabilitation of the women cadre, primarily because many of these Adivasis, particularly the women Adivasis, they were misguided and the choices were forced upon them. That is the reason why, rather than treating them merely as criminals, there is a requirement to treat them with sensitivity, and in rehabilitation, excess rehabilitation has to be provided to these people. We have on multiple occasions heard the term Bimaru, which is used very stereotypically against the northern belt of India. Particularly, the term Bimaru represents Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, then along with that, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. These are the four states which at one point of time were the poster examples of poverty. These are the same states where the population control measures have failed drastically. And in all human development indices ranging from education to economic attainment, these states were always at the backward zone. Observing this peculiarity with respect to these four states, in fact, it is a demographer by the name of Ashish Bose who has coined the term Bimaru. But try to understand this. Once the term Bimaru has been coined, in fact, in the Hindi language, the term Bimar means deceased. These states came to be looked upon as the most backward states of India. And there was also some discrimination against the people hailing from these states, saying that you belong to the backward pockets of India. But this Bimaru as a term has made the central government give excessive focus to these districts, primarily because in India, even though all federal units are the same with respect to the central government, but some federal pockets of India need special focus, and these four states were similarly given special focus in terms of aspirational district program, in terms of providing developmental aid to these districts, these states, the central government has taken special focus, and of late, some of these states have started improving. If you observe, from 2011 to till date, the Madhya Pradesh economy has rapidly transformed itself, and even in case of Rajasthan also, some of the population control measures and even economic development is also showing positive sign. And today, Yogi Adityanath, the CM of Uttar Pradesh, has claimed that Uttar Pradesh is no more a Bimaru state. It should be now called as an expressway state, primarily because there are multiple expressways and development which is happening in Uttar Pradesh. And definitely, even though there is some improvement in all of these states, but till date, the Bimaru states, particularly Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and to a certain extent Rajasthan, are still disproportionately dependent on the central government, and they are still laggard states with respect to the population control measures, because in these states the TFR is still hovering around 3. So that is the reason why, even though we have taken developmental steps, there is a need for more focused attention and specific policies for these states in order to transform the phase of these states. June 25th, 1975 is a day which has to be remembered. In fact, it is a day which many consider to be written in black letters, okay, in terms of Indian constitutional history. Primarily because on 25th June of 1975, the emergency was imposed on India by Indira Gandhi. And this emergency, unlike the earlier emergencies which have been invoked, has been invoked in order to suppress a internal disturbance which is present in India under Article 352. And June 25th of 2025 marks 50 years of this emergency. And the 21 months of emergency is one of the darkest chapter in Indian constitutional history, when the fundamental rights of people have been suspended, forced sterilizations were done, executive has in fact overstretched itself and in fact completely sidelined both legislature and judiciary. There was a call for committed bureaucracy, and along with that, people's human rights were so brutally suppressed that there was no press freedom. And along with that, the opposition leaders from different states have been imprisoned for extended periods of time. In fact, this is a period when the Supreme Court also very shamefully said that even Article 21, right to life, is not guaranteed during an emergency, in a very famous case called Jabalpur case. Then apart from that, the emergency is the period in which the people suffered a lot primarily because of the excesses of the central government, and the federal structure of India also has lost its complete meaning. And it is the period when an attack or a systemic attack on the constitution has happened with the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Because of all these excesses, definitely the 25th of June should be remembered as Samvidhan Hatya Divas. That is the reason why the central government is planning to commemorate the day as Samvidhan Hatya Divas, and the Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that they are going to conduct a democracy yatra in order to make the Indian people cherish the values of democracy and the great sacrifices which went in protecting the democracy during the emergency period particularly. Thank you.